In Universe 10 on the realm of the Kais, a genocidal maniac is born, although I guess both words do technically apply. His name is Zamasu, and he is enraged seeing the use of godly powers during the Tournament of Destroyers, where two universes collided with their strongest warriors, Universe 7 coming out on top and being able to win the Super Dragon Balls, although the tournament itself isn't what enraged the Kai. Rather, it was seeing mortals using godly powers, such as the Saiyans that combined their primal and disgusting energy with that of the gods themselves. He's not sure exactly who's responsible for these heinous acts, but one thing is for certain: everybody involved will pay the price for this sacrilegious behavior. But it isn't until his master Gowasu fully explains the time rings to him that he is certain of what the Zero Mortal plan will entail. He steals the mythical objects that only the Kais are meant to use to control time, before then going out in search of the legendary Zuno, who would tell him about where to find the Super Dragon Balls, but only after being threatened. Normally, it would take generous displays of affection from a hot babe to be able to get the all-knowledgeable one to explain pretty much anything, although Zamasu's Keyblade is definitely enough to get Zuno to spill all of his secrets. He tells the Kai the exact location of each and every one of the 7 Super Dragon Balls, and so Zamasu goes out in search of them, collecting them in record time since he already has the coordinates jotted down. Then he uses the language only the gods know to communicate with the legendary Super Shinron, and he speaks his wish. He wishes to switch bodies with the one known as Goku, the strongest in the multiverse, at least to his knowledge. Looking at you, Jiren, but the point is that now Zamasu has the body of the Saiyan, and using Kai, he would teleport to where Goku is currently at, before using his Keyblade yet again, although this time with the power of a Saiyan behind it. He slices down Goku, who is in the Kai's body, and then he goes after his family. Goten and Chi-Chi would try and get away, but Zamasu was just too fast, and with a single slice, Goku's entire family would be killed. That is, except for Gohan, who would notice the notable drop in ki and rush over to see what was going on. And then he witnesses the horrific sight. The half Saiyan is stood there paralyzed, although Zamasu makes him earn that name by cleaving him in two. Get it? Like he's half Saiyan, but he's also like he's in half, so he's a half Saiyan, but gotta throw a quick chuckle in there, or else this entire timeline would just be incredibly depressing. But Goku Black doesn't just go after Goku's family. No, he goes after everybody the Saiyan ever loved, continuing now with Bulma. He arrives at Capsule Corp and kills her with a single blast, not wanting to prolong any of these mortals' pitiful lives. He's cleansing the universe, remember? He gets no joy out of this. Well, maybe a little. Although the real challenge comes from Vegeta, who turns into Super Saiyan 4 right away and rushes at Goku. However, it doesn't do anything, as with the Kai's innate godly presence inside of Goku, even without transforming into Super Saiyan God, he's pretty much already there, and taking a beating, Goku Black only grows in strength. So with a single attack, he's able to kill Vegeta as well. But not before murdering Trunks in front of his father. Then he goes after everybody else on Earth. The Z-Fighters are the only ones even remotely able to keep up, but they too are killed with ease, before the entire planet is cleansed. But he doesn't stop at Earth. He goes to Namek, to Yardrat, to Vampa, to every planet in the universe, and cleanses them as well, before moving to Universe 6, Universe 5, Universe 9, Universe 11. All of them are taken down with relative ease. For fighters like Hit, Toppo, and Jiren, who were too strong for Goku Black to take on his own, he would just take them out while they were sleeping, off guard, Any time where they were vulnerable, he would strike. Although for the vast majority of fighters, Goku Black exceeded them in strength by miles. Although there were some people that Zamasu just couldn't beat, that being the gods of destruction. They were far beyond his power, and they were gods after all, so it's only to be expected. However, Zamasu as a Kai himself knows the Destroyer's biggest weakness, that of their link to the Kais. If their Supreme Kai is killed, then that of the Destroyer's life as well. And within only a couple of months, all mortals in the entire multiverse would be gone. Every universe's mortal level dropping to 0. But what of the child that called himself the ruler of all, Zeno? Well, Goku Black understood that if he were to catch wind of what the Kai was doing, then his entire multiversal takeover might be at risk. So, after waiting a little while, allowing the gods to relax in true nirvana now that those disgusting mortals were gone, he would gather the Super Dragon Balls once more, before then wishing that Zeno and the Grand Priest and all of the other angels who might have found a way to reactivate themselves be completely and utterly erased. One timeline has felt his cleansing. Now it's time to move on to the next, and the next after that. Although he chooses to go about things a little differently now that he can finally have a partner, someone to share in this beauty with. And best of all, it's somebody that he can trust. In fact, it's the only person he can trust, himself. Goku Black reaches out to Zamasu. In this new timeline, he hadn't enacted his Zero Mortal plan, although he was thinking about it. He wanted to do it so badly, he just hadn't had a proper catalyst, because in this timeline, those silly mortals got their hands on time travel, and that's what caused Zamasu's own timeline, the one where Goku Black was able to achieve his ultimate peace. This one, however, is unaltered. This is Trunks' timeline. The tournament that tipped Zamasu over the edge in Goku Black's own timeline never happened here, because the only person who could have participated would have been Trunks, and Beerus didn't wake up in time for that to happen. In fact, Beerus himself is dead here, because the Supreme Guy of that universe had been killed in an altercation with a mortal in his universe. How absolutely disappointing. It just reassures to Goku Black that he's doing the right thing. So he takes out his Keyblade once more and cuts down Gowasu, before then convincing his other half, this time being an untransformed Zamasu, to come along with him. Although this version of himself doesn't want to steal the body of a mortal. Instead, he wants to become truly immortal, completely indestructible, the perfect shield to Goku Black's unrivaled sword. They gather the Super Dragon Balls and make their wish, the two working together and being an unstoppable pair. And they choose to take things a bit slower in this timeline. They were always taught never to play with their food, but what harm could come from having a little bit of fun? So after wiping the life out of 11 of the 12 universes, they take their time with the 7th, going to the planet where the time traveler first originated, causing the split in both Zamasu and Goku Black's timelines. They then torment him for several years, 2.5 specifically, as that's all the boy needed to be able to head back to the place where he got help from last time. It cost Bulma her life, but she was able to make enough fuel for the time machine. One round trip is all they're getting, but that should be enough. So even though Bulma dies in the process, Trunks is able to take the fuel and head back to his time machine, fueling up the ship, inputting the coordinates, and preparing for liftoff. Although sadly, Bulma wasn't the only person to die to make this happen. Mai was sacrificing herself to buy Trunks just a little more time, and as the rift opens and he travels through the crack in time, he sees Mai seemingly die in front of him. He gets back to the main timeline though, and is able to communicate with the rest of the group the absolute tragedy that has occurred in his very own timeline. Although this is only after resting and regaining his energy, because Trunks was absolutely wiped. And after explaining everything, he sees Goku, who is listening to the entire conversation. He immediately mistakes him for Black and tries to lunge out at him, but Goku's able to catch the attack, and Trunks calms down, realizing this isn't the same monster that was just tormenting him hours ago. Hearing this, Goku and Vegeta each feel terrible, although they have opposite reactions. Whereas Goku wants to go to the future and punch the lights out of the guy wearing his face, Vegeta feels as if it'd be better to train Trunks, that way they don't have to keep helping him. If he's able to handle it himself, then the future timeline will be far better off. Although they don't have much time to argue about this, as Goku Black appears through the time rift, having followed Trunks and being able to tear open the wound in time using his ring. The group all immediately prepare to fight against him, although Goku Black seemingly isn't at full power. Goku in just Super Saiyan being able to keep up with his evil counterpart. In fact, Goku would be able to pulverize him with just Super Saiyan 2, leading the group to believe that Goku Black isn't as strong as he really is. The only reason he wasn't dominating in this battle was because he couldn't access his full strength, being pulled back through the rift in time back to the timeline where he is still wreaking havoc. But not before destroying Trunks' time machine. That way the pain in their backside couldn't come back to meddle in their schemes. They'll get to this realm eventually. Although thanks to Cell, Bulma will be able to start working on a replacement time machine, because the Bugman had used one back in part 4, or around the 1 hour mark if you're watching this on the full story. Either way, it's still going to take a while to be able to repair the time machine, so the group has a bit of time to be able to train, get stronger, and prepare Trunks for the fight to come. Because even if they are going to help him against Black in the future, they still want Trunks to be able to at least put up a fight. They're going to need all the help they can get going up against that monster. They have no idea what he's truly capable of, and he wasn't even using Super Saiyan but still was able to combat Goku in the evolved version of that form. And because teaching Trunks how to use God Ki without Whis, who chooses to stay uninvolved in this situation, would just take too long, Vegeta is the one teaching Trunks how to use his powers, that of Super Saiyan 4. Trunks would have already reached Super Saiyan plus Ikari. It was a basic thing to wrap your head around, although still difficult to achieve. It's impressive that Trunks was able to do it, although he does need to take the next step if he wants to even stand a chance. And letting his future son in on a secret, there's actually a level even beyond Super Saiyan 4. With all of this motivating him, as well as wanting to save his future, Trunks would train harder than ever, and the father and son duo would grow leaps and bounds beyond where they were at the beginning of their training. After reaching Super Saiyan 4, Trunks' hybrid potential would allow him to overcome the God Ki gap, meaning he's actually somewhat relative to Vegeta, except for all of the mastery that his father has over the Super Saiyan 4 transformation, and apparently whatever comes beyond. And in this time, Goku would be training with Piccolo, who is incredibly powerful here, having kept up his training with the androids. But Goku isn't really interested in that. He's already leagues beyond Piccolo, even if there's not as big of a gap as in the original. No, instead, Goku's trying to learn instant transmission. He already got a pretty good handle over it, although now he's trying to master it. This is sort of just to retcon what I did in my last part by forgetting that Goku wouldn't have instant transmission here. Eventually though, the time machine would be complete. Trunks, Goku, Bulma, and Vegeta all getting inside. It's definitely cramped, but there was still enough room for all 4 of them. So they then take a trip back to the future. Well, back to the future for one of them. It's just to the future for the other 3. To the Future, starring Marty Brown and Doc McFly. Doc McFly sounds like a supervillain. Not a well-written supervillain, but definitely still a supervillain. But I'm getting ahead of myself. The group would all arrive in the future timeline. After finding and confronting Goku Black, Goku and Vegeta would power up into Super Saiyan Blue and Super Saiyan 4 respectively, and they are absolutely pummeling him at first. However, then Goku Black realizes what makes Saiyans so strong. It's not just their ability to take in so much damage and come back stronger each time, no. It's the fact that they're able to push themselves beyond their limits thanks to their incredible rage. Their unstoppable desire for power mixed with their intense hatred for anything that gets in their way. Nothing is allowed to limit them, and that's what makes them so strong. So, Goku Black imitates this. Just like he has done for all of the other Saiyan abilities, he makes them his own, turning into his own variation of Super Saiyan, this being Rosé. Goku and Vegeta are still able to put up a decent fight, although they're being pushed to their limits, and this time they can't surpass them, because anytime they would, Goku Black does the same, but more. He's faster, he's stronger, and in every single way he's superior. Except for one. He might think he knows what it means to be a Saiyan, but he can never truly experience it, and that is when Vegeta tells Goku to get back. Before he then screams out, he is the Prince of the Saiyans, the penultimate warrior of the multiverse. He will not let anybody imitate or try and overcome his power. He is beyond anything in the cosmos because he is Vegeta, leader of the warrior race, as he then lets out a brilliant and primal roar, turning into the next stage of Super Saiyan, being named Super Saiyan 5. They're not really creative. All of the fur on his body turning from a crimson red to a glistening white. His aura explodes out, this time a mix of red and pink flames. His godly ki mixed with the true penultimate transformation of the Saiyan race. And as Goku Black stands there paralyzed by the power, Vegeta screams out, "Final Flash!" thinking internally that after everything this monster has done to his son's timeline, he will not allow him to live. Vegeta has come a long way from the Saiyan Prince he once was, but anybody that hurts his family has got to go. Goku Black would try and switch his Potara onto the other ear, that way he can fuse with his other immortal self. Although it doesn't work, his hand is vaporized before he gets the chance, and soon the Potara is as well. Everything that once resembled Goku Black is completely and utterly erased. The other Zamasu would make himself known to try and heal his partner. If he's able to get Goku Black up and running again, he'll be far stronger than ever before. Although as he looks around to try and find the other version of himself, he can't. There's no remnants of Goku Black remaining, and everything that Zamasu had worked for is now gone. All that remains is an empty timeline and a single Kai with no idea what to do. Although, as everyone tries to kill him, they realize he's immortal, and thus they're going to need to find some other way to dispose of Goku Black's ally. But Goku has an idea. He remembers that all those years ago, Roshi tried to use something called the Mafuba on King Piccolo. So if they were able to find somebody that knew that technique, or could be taught it by Roshi, then they could seal this guy away too. And that's a brilliant idea. The only problem is, somebody is going to need to stay behind to defend this Earth from Zamasu, lest all of the other humans here die as well, and nobody wants that. Goku volunteers since Vegeta has definitely surpassed him by this point, and this seems like a wonderful way to get some training in, that way he might be able to bridge the gap. It's gonna take him a while, but this is a pretty good first step. So everybody else goes back to the past, before then arriving only a couple days later with Piccolo, who's already mastered the Mafuba. Then he would come over to where Zamasu is, absolutely drained, because even if he's immortal, he still doesn't have infinite stamina, and fighting against Goku for a couple days straight is gonna take a lot out of you. Although he's still confident he'll be able to survive whatever Piccolo's about to do to him. Sadly though, he's right. He gets sealed away, forever alive, but forever trapped in a place that he'll never be able to escape. Because after he's sealed inside of an urn, that urn would be taken back to the present timeline, where it would be sealed in miles upon miles of Kachikachin by the Supreme Kai of their universe. Speaking of the present timeline though, they would be able to investigate their version of Zamasu, who would eventually attempt to assassinate Gowasu, leading to his immediate erasure by Beerus, before he gets the chance to actually take out Universe 10's Supreme Kai. Although in future Trunks' timeline, he would be able to start rebuilding. Sadly, they don't have the Dragon Balls on Earth, but they actually do on Namek. Because of Goku Black's rush to punish the Time Traveler, he didn't actually get to many other planets in Universe 7, meaning that they're able to use Porunga to revive everybody killed by Goku Black's assault, at least on Earth. They'll need the Super Dragon Balls to undo all the damage that Zamasu did everywhere else, although that's not entirely out of the question either, because I don't think they're able to destroy such powerful wish orbs, and after gathering them from Universe 7 and 6, future Trunks' timeline would be completely restored. They would overlook all of his time travel shenanigans, and future Trunks would be known as a hero across the multiverse.